can solve the camera for the shot. Now you might think that solving the camera is the wrong thing to do because the camera is not moving, but the object is. Well, that is correct. But we can also solve the camera and then later on translate its animation to the object itself. So let's see how to do that.
Now that we have both user tracks ready to go, we can start off by right-click on one of them and go to the camera solver. And we're going to right-click again and add another camera solver. And each of these camera solvers here and here is going to solve independent trees, even though they do come from the same source. So let's go with this tree right here. If I double-click on the camera solve, I see that the focal length is being read from the estimate focal, and click on Solve All. And if I go to the trackers and I look at the residuals, I can scrub through my timeline and see if I got any kind of residuals that go over 1. And I also can check that by going to the arrows. Under the arrows, I see that I got this tracker that reaches over 1 a few times, and this is tracker number 7. So I can go back to the trackers and deactivate it and click on Solve All again. Now let's go to the camera solver on this side. Now remember that we decided to see what pipeline is going to give me the most accurate results. So double click on this camera solver and we see that this camera solver is reading the focal length that we entered manually through the edit camera upstream. Solve All. And let's go into the error tabs and fit view. And here we also have the same tracker causing some issues. Tracker 7 for that matter. So going to the trackers, deactivating tracker 7, and we resolve the camera. If I double click on the first camera solver in this pipeline and I go to the curve editor, I want to compare this node's translation and even the rotation to the other camera solve node. So I'm going to select the translation, and here I'm going to click on Select All Keys, and I'm going to click on the Save button. So I'm going to click on Record, going back to my tree view, double click on the second camera solver and looking at its curves. Let's go to the translation, and if we zoom in into our second curve editor, then we see that there's no difference at all between the previous graphs and these graphs, which means that the translation is identical. And I assume that the same thing is going to be for the rotation. The most visible difference is in the distortion itself. So now that both camera solvers are accurate and we can see that the camera on both of them is reflecting the object movement, then we can continue forward with the orient scene.
So by solving the 2 different cameras for the 2 different focal lengths will give us full control over the object tracking solution, and it will also allow us to see which one of the solutions will work best in Maya. So let's jump to the next video and see how to orient both workflows, and we'll also see how to translate the camera's animation into the object.